Well, welcome back to another video, a podcast here on the Washington Football Maniacs podcast. My name is Greg, along with my best buddy Brandon, and I'm glad that we're back doing this together. We just have so much more fun when both of us are doing podcasts. Rather than me just sitting here and talking to myself for about 15 minutes. But anyway, folks, this podcast is dedicated to news and commentary for the Washington Commanders. If you're down with that, make sure you have subscribed and also make sure you hit that notification bell. As well, we're branching out and we are going to be putting the audio of these podcasts on Podbean and soon to be Spotify, Apple Music, hopefully everywhere where you catch your favorite podcast. So just be looking out for that. I know that sometimes you'd rather just listen to us than look at our ugly mugs, and who knows, maybe you don't want to do either one. But regardless, thank you for your support, folks. So with that being said, Brandon, so in this video, we want to put on our GM hats because you know what? We're GM experts just like everybody else on social media. And so we feel like we know the best way to build this team. And so we're going to, I don't think we're going to debate each other, but we're going to tell our sides of why we want to make these moves at number two, and we're going to back up that with hopefully good sound reasoning. I know that Brandon's going to have good sound reasoning. Me, on the other hand, I may make it up as I go along, but you guys are already used to that. So, um, so with that said, Brandon, so we're at number two. We're assuming that Caleb Williams is heading to Chicago. At least I think we're assuming that. So we're not trading up for number one. I think both of us are probably agreeing with that. So we're at number two. Brandon, you're Adam Peters, and you've got the phone ringing off the hook. You're on the clock. What are you going to do?
Oh man, easy. I am trading back. I'm
Whoa.
trading. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna trade back, and I'm gonna try to grab a left tackle and a quarterback, and I'm gonna try to put talent around Sam Howell and give him at least one more year. I think that that was an argument I had last year that I always felt that Sam Howell had the intangibles. He showed great promise in the beginning of the year. Obviously, he faltered towards the end, but I think that the situation with Sam Howell and DC had a lot to do with a couple things, man. One, the old line just wasn't very good. They didn't give him enough time to get the ball off. Now, obviously, at times his release does have to get faster. At times, his release was slow, his progressions are slow. But I think an improved old line is going to help him with that. Definitely with training camp, they're going to help him with that. He's going to get better. Two, the inconsistency when it comes to play calling under Eric Bieniemy. He had him drawn back a lot, and it just got to the point where he got tired down the stretch. I mean, he got hit so many times. What was it, 65 sacks last year? So he got hit so many times, man. And I think those two factors are the big reason why he faltered at the end. I think he's got the intangibles. I think that with an improved O line, with more weapons and improving his team overall, you give him at least one more year. But you notice I said take a quarterback. Now, one more, I guess another argument to make is, everybody's saying, oh, go get a quarterback at two. Go get a quarterback at two. We're going to be a better team. Go get a quarterback at two. Okay, let's look at the track record at number two as far as quarterbacks. Now, obviously, one of the best quarterbacks at number two that was ever chosen was Donovan McNabb of the Philadelphia Eagles in 1999. And then most recent was Zach Wilson, which he's on his way out of New York, so I'm not going to say any kind of success with that. But, I mean, if you look at the list of guys, man, we're going to go back to 98. Ryan Leaf, 98. We know that was a dumpster fire. 2012, RG3. Wrong system. You can say injury issue. The talent was there. But if you look at what we gave up, the fact a lot of talent was given up to get him.
Yes.
Marcus Mariota, backup at this point, 2015. Carson Wentz, 2016. Yes, he was an MVP candidate, and the injuries had a lot to do with that. And then looking at a few names, Mitchell Trubisky, 2017. So it's not guaranteed a two. He's not guaranteed a two. And with the amount of holes we have on this team, the O-line has to be the emphasis. And because if the O-line's not better, man, and I know we got free agency coming up, but I think the draft is the best way to go get that career franchise left tackle. Because Trent Williams, we are still hurting from the departure of Trent Williams. He is still playing at a high level. And you can imagine if he was still in DC, you have different results. So you trade back, get a left tackle, and go get a quarterback such as Bo Nix. And I'm looking at Bo Nix. I'm looking at a few people, but I say Bo Nix because, in my opinion, he's pro ready. 5 years in college, 3 years at Auburn, two at Oregon. His last year at Oregon, he threw for 45 touchdowns and 3 picks and 4,500 yards passing and a 77% completion rate. The kid can play football, man. And I know everybody's looking at Jaden Daniels, everybody's looking at Drake May, and for good reason. And I get that Caleb Williams, but look, don't forget you have some guys in the back of the draft that can play. I mean, Bo Nix to me has franchise quarterback written all over him, and he doesn't have to come in and start right away. You give Sam another year, see what he can do, develop Bo Nix, and then when it's time to bring him up there, he's going to be ready. He doesn't have to be thrown straight into the fire. Another name to look at would be J.J. McCarthy. I mean, if you look at the fact that he's beaten most of these guys that are higher than him on the draft board, this kid can play some football. I mean, if you look at his stats out of the University of Michigan, last year he threw for 22 touchdowns, 4 picks, 2,999 yards, and threw for 72.3 completion rate. So again, he played big games. He has moxie in big games. So he's a guy who, yeah, you don't have to start him right away. You can come in, you can develop him. And like I said, there's a few more guys. I mean, you can look at Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington. Obviously, the injury bug has hit him and his age, but you have a chance to go get a left tackle and a quarterback. And then the quarterback doesn't have to immediately come in. I think Sam Howell can be the starter. Now, me personally, I'm going to give him another year. Get a better O line, go get some weapons, fix the defense. And if he still doesn't stand up to par, you got Bo Nixon right there, man. So I'm trading back. That's definitely what I'm doing, man.
All right, all right. So Bo Nix, you know, I was reading some predictions or projections. I think either way, it tells the story. A few weeks ago, as far as like, okay, obviously we kind of understood where the first three quarterbacks are going to go. At least Drake May and Caleb Williams, it seemed like, okay, they were almost a lock to go 1 and 2, and then all of a sudden Jaden Daniels' stock seemed to rise, and suddenly people are feeling like he is the second best quarterback in the draft, and so maybe Drake May isn't, and that people keep going back and forth on that.
Yeah.
Even some people were saying that Jaden Daniels was actually the best, or Drake May. So it's like, honestly, there is so much. It's like watching a NASCAR race, where the first three cars, they're in the lead lap, they're keep passing each other. I don't know which one to root for, right? Um, so, for me, it's like there's been so much bickering going back and forth between all of these quarterbacks. And honestly, for me, and I'm going to piss off probably more people saying this as well, but I would actually look at bringing Kirk Cousins back because yes, I realize he's going to come back from an Achilles injury, but Kirk Cousins was never really a running quarterback anyway. And I know you folks are going to say Kirk Cousins is not going to fit the offense that Cliff Kingsbury wants to run. That may be true, but Kirk Cousins is still, I consider, in my opinion, easily a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. You already know he's a franchise quarterback. So, and there's chances he may not stay in Minnesota. Now, yes, the thing that concerns me, you're probably going to have to pay him $45 million. So that, yes, I realize it's not going to be cheap. I think I would pick up Kirk Cousins because instantly, you have a starter there. You have a franchise guy. We loved him when he was in Washington. Yes, there's a knock on him. You can't ever win the big games. Okay, I get you, but I'm with you. I use those top picks to go and get a starting left tackle. There's talk about possibly maybe John Allen could be trade bait.
Oh yeah.
What if we get another second round, a second and a fourth round maybe, for Jonathan Allen? Suddenly you got two second round picks that you could use one of those to maybe trade back into the first round. Maybe one of those quarterbacks. Because here's the thing, we haven't gotten through the combine yet. stocks are going to rise or fall on these quarterbacks. Let's say the stock starts rising on a Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy or somebody like that. Let's say suddenly one of those guys is suddenly a first round draft pick. Well, you have with that trade now you have the ability to trade back into the first round and draft that quarterback. He's a first round pick. And let's say it's JJ McCarthy, okay? I'm picking JJ McCarthy because well, he's won college football. They won the championship. He's beaten a lot of good schools, a lot of good teams. He's battle tested. He was under Jim Harbaugh. I think the kid has what it takes. Tom Brady probably will agree with me, but of course, he's going to be probably a little biased on that. But I think I would pick him, and then you still have some top round picks that you can go and fill up some other areas of need. Maybe go and get a linebacker because we need another London Fletcher on this team. Maybe you get a tight end. Maybe you get another like who could eventually be an all-pro guard on the offense because obviously we need more than just one person on that offensive line. And so I think you do that and you can still draft a quarterback and you still have Sam Howell and then you have your starter. You can still invest in getting Sam Howell ready to be a starter or that other quarterback. Yeah, you're probably going to invest more because you spent a high round pick on him. But you got three guys now who could potentially win you some football games. You got depth. You got a lot of depth there at quarterback. You don't, and just like you said, Brandon, you don't have to start that first round guy right away because here's the thing. Let's say we don't go the Kirk Cousins route and we just draft at number two. We draft Drake May or Jaden Daniels. Okay. Um, then the issue is, well, we still need a good solid backup who can come in and win you some football games because you're going to throw in a rookie quarterback into the fire the first year, and that offensive line still needs to be rebuilt. People seem to have forgot. I've actually seen people online say, "Well, the offensive line really wasn't that bad." I'm like, oh my God, did you not see the season?
Oh no.
I mean,
Oh Lord.
Brandon, I swear, I saw this. I saw this, and I was just like, please give me what you're smoking. I don't smoke, but I may start because I just know our offensive line was horrible. So we've got to invest in the offensive line. And so, even if you go at number two with quarterback, you got to prepare Sam Howell. Yeah, you got to have him ready because he's probably going to wind up having to come in and play some games. Because if it's Jaden Daniels, I worry that he's not going to be able to protect himself. I realize you don't base everything on highlights. I know that, but I did see some major hits in some of those highlights or lowlights where he really got lit up in college, and I'm like, if he absorbs that same hit in the NFL, he's going to be hurt. So you've got to have your backup quarterback ready. And a lot of people can say, well, let's just keep Jacoby Brissett, which I like Jacoby. He is a fantastic backup, but he's going to cost you a whole lot more than Sam Howell. You know, you want to invest in as much money as you can in guys that you feel like is going to stay around. And yeah, I realize that that is hypocritical because I just said that I would bring in Kirk Cousins and he's 36 years old or going to be 36. But past that one injury, he could probably easily play until he's 40. I mean, because he's a pocket passer. So to me, that's what I would strongly look at. If Kirk Cousins wanted to come back, and we know he is instant starter, I would bring him back while I'm still developing Sam Howell. And maybe you don't even have to worry about drafting quarterback, but I know if I say that, I will get burnt at the stake with all of you people because everybody wants a quarterback. I understand it's the shiny new toy. But again, as Brandon pointed out, look at all of the failures from the quarterback position picked at number two. Um, there's been a lot that were either straight up busts or just fizzled out so quickly. And it is a crapshoot picking these quarterbacks. It's a huge crapshoot. So I mean, honestly, you need to look at everything. You need to look at if this was a team that all they needed was the quarterback. Which again, why would they be picking at number two if that's all they needed? But just for argument's sake, let's say that was really the last piece they needed, then yeah, maybe go ahead and get your quarterback at number two. You're investing a lot into it. Or I don't know, again, maybe I would pick Kirk Cousins, although Minnesota thought the same thing a few years ago and that didn't work out. I understand. Anyway, that is what I would do. I'm going to stick with it because I'm a man. I'm willing to absorb the laughter, but you know, we don't know what's going to happen, folks. We don't know what's going to happen. Um, Although I will say, if you looked at Sam Howell's social media today, suddenly his banner is nothing but UNC. His picture there, nothing with Washington Commanders in it. It does say in his write up he's Washington Commanders quarterback, but I don't know if we should read too much into that or not, but I'm just, I'm saying who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I always laugh at stuff like that, man. None against Sam, man. It's just it's kind of like a tantrum when it comes to social media. It's like, oh, I'm just gonna take my stuff down, man. Like, man, come on. I mean, but I do get it though. You know what I mean? Because from his perspective, he looks at the same factors we do. You know, as far as play calling. You know, as far as the fact that he got hit a lot. I mean, he dropped back a lot. His O line was bad. I mean,
Mhm.
anybody who's saying the O line was decent last year, they need to be drug tested. You need to check their
Yes.
cup. I mean, I don't know what they're drinking on. I don't know if I'm intrigued or scared, but um, it's
A
just
little bit of both, I think. I don't know.
yeah, a little bit of both. You know, it's just I don't see. I mean, now I'll say this, man. Cosme, man, is one guy who I think he could
He
be.
was
A,
solid.
he was solid. I think he could get
Yes.
better, man. I like what I see in Cosme, but go out and go to Penn State and get Fashanu, man. Go to Notre Dame and get Joe Alt, man. Go get a legitimate franchise left tackle. Like I said, you can trade back and get a quarterback. Now I'll say this: we don't know which route they're going to go. Obviously, um, new front office, new ownership. They could go out there and get the quarterback. That seems to be the consensus as far as the fan base. But and I'm gonna support whoever it is. You know, if they go get Drake May, if they get Jaden Daniels, if they somehow get Caleb Williams, whoever it is, I'm gonna support them because regardless, I'm a support the team, man. But it's just there's so many holes to fill. You mentioned middle linebacker. We have struggled at middle linebacker since he's left.
Yeah.
I mean, we and same thing. You look at Trent Williams. We haven't had real success on the O line since we got rid of Trent Williams, and he's still playing good football in San Francisco. So, go get the left tackle. Go fill his holes. I mean, cornerback to me, and really safety to a certain degree, has a lot of questions because Kendall Fuller's not a number one, and St. Juice, what is he really? I mean, is he a number two? I don't think that. I mean, Forbes, I think that with him being a first round pick, you've already you work with him. You
Yeah.
let him work with Daryl Green. You get him better because maybe you know what I'm willing to sacrifice some of his speed for some muscle. I'd rather him be able to take down a running back than to be able to be a ball hawk, in my opinion. Because I mean, if you look at his tackling and his size, man, he was hurting, especially going against these bigger receivers like AJ Brown. I mean, against the Eagles, he has no business being opposite of AJ Brown. So what I'm going to do, I would definitely say we need to go get a lockdown corner, put Forbes on the other side,
Hmm.
and take some pressure off of him. I mean, wide receiver. I mean, does Curtis Samuel come back? I mean, do you go out and spend a little money and maybe go get a Mike Evans? Do you go get a Mike Pittman from? Even though I think he's going to be franchise tagged by the Colts. I mean, and here's another factor. This is a wide receiver deep draft. I mean, I would like to see
Yeah.
us pick up a couple of receivers in this draft. And even if you look at our wide receiver room now, Jahan Dotson and his size, I think he's best served as a slot receiver. So, I think there's a lot of holes, man. I mean, and like I said, I know we both get into it, people who think that going out and getting a quarterback is going to be a quick fix, and it's not because we have so many holes on this team. And now I'll say this, and before we roll on, man, I'll say there is a reason for this fan base to be excited because number one, Dan Snyder is no longer the owner. I mean, that is
Yeah.
key. This is the first official year where he is not here, man. New GM. I mean, new coach. The staff is on point, except for O line, which I mean, that's a whole nother episode. But I mean, they have done everything we wanted them to do as far as rebuilding this team in the front office and the ownership suite. Now we have cap room. We're number one in the NFL in cap room. We have four picks in the first 100 picks. So, and then if we trade back, that's even more. We could go to six. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to be excited, but I don't think a quarterback is going to make us a contender overnight. I just don't because, like like we both said, it is not a guarantee. Most of your most successful quarterbacks. I mean, Lamar Jackson, where was he drafted? He was the last pick of the first round. I mean, Tom Brady, Lord have mercy, where was he picked? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not guaranteed. Everything in sports, especially football, out of all sports, man, is about the right system and the right fit. And RG3, we gave up the ability to draft Aaron Donald. Can you imagine Aaron Donald as a Redskin slash commander? I mean, the dude's a beast. He's a Hall of Fame guy. I mean, we gave that right up for RG3, and he was never in the right system under Mike Shanahan. He was never the right fit. Kirk Cousins was the better fit, and I
Yeah.
like RG3. He kind of gets on my nerves a little bit on Twitter now, but I like RG3. But it's not the right fit. You got to find the right fit. And Cliff Kingsbury is going to throw the ball. Now, I do think he needs to learn how to run the ball a little more than he did in Arizona. So, I definitely think their run game's going to get better. But you need a guy who's going to be able to sit back there and make some quick decisions. And a pocket guy is much needed, in my opinion, because so yeah, I mean, kind of before we roll, man, I'm trading back. I don't think that I like Drake May. I do like Jaden Daniels, even though look, Jaden Daniels is gonna have to be developed. He's not a guy who's gonna come right in and start. He's gonna have to build some muscle. He's gonna have to build. And there's another thing, you don't realize that the speed in the NFL is different than the speed of college, man. I mean, your first 3 games in college, you're playing like some scrub teams as warm up game. I mean, the NFL every week, day in and day out, man. Every week you're playing against professionals. Totally different speed, man. Totally different game now. You got your defensive ends are running pretty good 40 times now. So I mean, you guys are hitting you hard and coming at you faster. So I mean, you got to develop. Don't throw the guy in the fire, man. Even if we do spend a number 2 pick on a quarterback, Greg, you have Sam Howell there. Play him another year. Don't throw the quarterback right in the fire. Get the O line right. You have a guy on a rookie scale contract. Or at that point, you have 2 quarterbacks on rookie scale contracts. So utilize that. Use the money elsewhere. So yeah, I think that both options are good. I can see Kirk Cousins. I mean, obviously, you already know, man. People gonna get on you about that, uh, but
Yeah, it will be warranted. I'm sure.
but I think we win either way, Greg. I do. I think we
Hmm.
win either way, man, because we have a lot to be excited about, man. And it's a new era in Washington Commanders football, man. So I'm excited either way. Whoever we pick, whoever we roll with, they got my support till they give me a reason not to. So
That's right. And I'll just end it with this. I understand the argument of look at all of the quarterbacks who have won the Super Bowl in the last few years. They've been first rounders. Look at the majority of the teams that were in the playoffs had first round quarterbacks playing
yeah,
for them. I get that. I understand that. But I also look at it from this point of view. The Patriots were an outlier where they were so good and dominant for 20 years. Um, if you let's say that Tom Brady only won 2 Super Bowls, okay, and then all of these years it was other teams going into the playoffs other than the Patriots all the time being in the Super Bowl or being in the AFC Championship game. How many other quarterbacks drafted in other rounds would have won the Super Bowl? I look at it like that too because it's like when you get down to it, yeah, the Super Bowl winners are, most of them like they're guys who are picked in the first round. It's like, okay, well, Tom Brady won 7 of them, and he was a 6th round pick. Yes, he was an outlier, but guess what? The facts are he was still a 6th round pick, and he wasn't drafted in the first round. Yes, that just tells you that, if the player has it, and sometimes these guys who are projecting these guys go in certain rounds don't always hit it right. But the other thing I want to say is that Yeah, you got like Patrick Mahomes, who's won 3 Super Bowls, been in 4 now in his young career. He's still pretty young, but that's one player, and not everybody's going to be Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
People are already saying that Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels or they can be the next Patrick Mahomes. There's only one Patrick Mahomes. Just like
yeah,
there was only one Tom Brady, there's only one Dan Marino, you know, Joe Montana. These guys don't. These guys are special,
yeah,
and you're not going to get that special quarterback every single year. And there's nothing to say that any of these guys are generational quarterbacks. Some people have used that term, and I'm like, they haven't even set one foot on an NFL field yet. How can you say that they're generational talent? You don't know that just yet.
yeah.
And so, by saying that, my biggest point is that really, if you can spot the talent in the quarterback, whether if he's in the first round or the third or fourth round, and you have the coaches who can bring him up and put him in a situation to succeed, um, he's going to win you some ball games. Hopefully, he wins you a Super Bowl.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, Russell Wilson, he was drafted what, third round, third or fourth round? I think it
I
was
believe
third
so.
round.
Yeah,
Um, he won. He was in the Super Bowl twice, almost won it twice. He at least won one of those Super Bowls, but he wasn't the first rounder. So that's just my point. That don't get so asphyxiated on you got to get a quarterback at number two. I know that the talking heads are going to say you got to get a quarterback at number two. Everybody right now has given up on Sam Howell, and if you haven't, then you're labeled a howler, just like the Heineke Hive. And I'm like, come on, folks. I think you
yeah,
just have certain folks who just, they get behind the players, they want to support them, and they recognize the whole big picture that it wasn't necessarily all one person's fault. Yes, they probably did some bad things, but give them a chance. You can't give up on some of these players after 1 year. And I mean, we were really hard on Forbes. Maybe we should also say let's not give up on Forbes after
yeah.
1 year. You know, so that I think that's just my whole thing of why in this video I said I'm gonna go Kirk Cousins. You know what? Because I already know what he can do,
Yeah.
and I don't know what these other quarterbacks can do. I know what Sam Howell has the ability to do. I've seen it, and I think in a better circumstance, I think Sam Howell's going to win you more football games.
Yeah.
But that situation is a much more clear situation. You know you're going to win some football games. You know you're going to have a shot at getting into the postseason.
Yeah.
Now, is Kirk Cousins the best quarterback? No, but he is a darn good quarterback. So I just honestly, I just feel that I don't know. I'm just going to leave it at this and say Adam Peters is going to pick the right choice for us at those positions. I think that he's going to look at everything. He's going to look at the situation we had this past year. He's looking at Sam Howell. He's looking at um, obviously they're right now they're really studying Jaden Daniels, and who knows what's going to happen. I would not doubt in the least that they will have some conversations with Cousins' um, uh, agent.
Yeah.
They probably will. They'll probably think about that. I think Cousins would come back to Washington. It's a much different situation than when he left. So
Yeah.
yeah. I know you folks were waiting for us to screw the pooch and not pick one of these quarterbacks, just like, you're going to listen to all the other podcasts and they're going to be like, those Maniacs guys are dumb. We're going with Jaden Daniels. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe we are. I don't know. But we have fun being dumb. So we enjoy it. We love our football team. We want the best for our football team. So at the end of the day, I don't care who is in there playing quarterback. I'm going to support them 100%.
Yep.
Whether if it's Cousins or Williams or May, Bo Nix, McCarthy, Penix, whoever it is, I'm getting behind that guy 100%. And if he's starting for us, I'm going to be yelling hard and cheering for him hard because if that guy's in there getting us into the playoffs and getting us closer to a Super Bowl, doesn't matter whose name is on the back of that jersey, I'm supporting him 100%.
Oh,
So hopefully, maybe that calms the animosity that some people's built up, and put all these people in different camps. You're this camp and that camp. I'm in the camp of what's best for the Commanders.
yeah.
At the end of the day, I want them winning the Super Bowl and being called something else other than the Commanders. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like, give it a share, and if you stayed with us for this whole 30 minutes, then you guys are maniacs.
There you go.
But you guys are awesome. I really love y'all. Brandon, you got anything else before we go?
Oh no, sir. I had a ball tonight, man.
I did too. I did too. This was fun. All right, folks. Please give again. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Give this podcast a like, give it a share, leave us a good comment. Let us know how we did. Your thoughts on what you would do. Put on your GM hat because I know a lot of people in social media land already has. So, with that said, folks, I hope you have a great evening, morning, afternoon, whenever it is you actually watch this video. And with that said, we will see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.
Peace.